Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's so great to have us again together this new year. Um, we are delighted to be here again, connected together after a break of a few months. We are glad that we are back refreshed from the holidays. If you are joining us for the first time, you are most welcome. This is the WAIC network. It is a capacity building platform mainly for women and postgraduate students in the built environment. At WAIC, we meet online every month to improve on what we do as researchers and teachers. And today we'll be looking at an important topic, and the topic is in pursuit of the academic vision. And this topic is vital. It's vital because we need to remain focused and passionate about what we do in the midst of distractions and other equally important responsibilities, even like our family. So we need to know how we can remain focused and passionate about what we do so that we are not discouraged along the way, so that we can actually attain all our expected goals. And what a joy that we have some amazing women who have done excellently well as teachers and as researchers. And they have been able to excel in a domain that has been seen as a male field, but they have done well and they have excelled. And we are going to be learning today from their rich experience in teaching and research. And in no particular order, I would like to appreciate all of them for accepting to come and speak to us today, and also for the sacrifice of their time. For many of them, the time difference is really huge, and many of them, they are in the wee hours of the night, and we really appreciate them for the sacrifice of their time. So, Maz, you're all welcome. We have Professor Abimbola Windapo from University of Cape Town in South Africa. We have Dr. Carol Juan from Queensland University of Technology in Australia. We have with us also today Dr. Abiola Komu from Virginia Tech, USA. And we have Dr. Clara Schenk from University of Manchester in the UK. So, Maz, you are all welcome, and we really, really do appreciate you. And for the rest of us joining in, we really want to appreciate your commitment and your participation. Your active participation in our event has made the event really worthwhile. So we are grateful to you, and we expect to see you engage through your questions and your comments at the appropriate time. So we'll have Dr. Na help us with the opening remark at this time. Dr. Na, you have the floor. Thank you.
So, hello, good morning, everybody. You're all so welcome. It's such a pleasure to be part of the first WAIC seminar for the year. And I'm especially glad about the subject of our discussion today. I'll speak about that in a minute. But for our guests who are joining us for the very first time, this webinar, as you've already heard Pat say, is under the auspices of the Women Academics in Construction. And it's here to build capacity, to create a network for both established and budding women academics. And today, the subject of our webinar is surrounding the issue of having a vision, pursuing a vision. Specifically, the topic is in pursuit of the academic vision. And because of that topic, I want to just highlight the vision of WAIC, right? What is our vision as the women academics in construction? It is to create a robust community of women academics and postgraduate students in the built environment who are supported, connected, and equipped to thrive in their careers and drive positive change in the construction industry. Those are the three words I want to highlight for us: supported, connected, and equipped. And these seminars that we hold on a monthly basis is in pursuit of this vision, right? So as we welcome you to our first webinar of the day, I'm encouraging you that throughout the year, do not just come in to be equipped. That is, you're taking away the knowledge that you stand to gain. But because of our vision, I want you to also take the opportunity to get connected to other women in the industry, to support other women in the industry in any way that you can. Nothing you do is too small, so that then we can all bring this vision into a reality. So that's what I want to draw your attention to. Support each other, connect with each other, and let's equip each other. I'm so glad to welcome all our speakers. They've come from different continents, they have different backgrounds, but they come with a wealth of experience and that we can all draw from. So I'm pleased to welcome Prof. Windabo, Dr. Carol Han, Dr. Akamu, Dr. Clara Chan. These are amazing women doing amazing things that we can learn from. So as I bring my welcome remarks to a close, I want to just leave you with a quote, and it comes from a musician. He's called Asha. And he says that success is about dedication, right? You may not be where you want to be, or you may not do what you want to do on the journey. So we're all on a journey, and we may not necessarily be where we want to be or be doing what we want to do. But you have got to be willing to have a vision and foresight that leads you to an incredible end. So you're all welcome to this first webinar. And I'm hoping that through this first webinar, you'll be able to develop a vision that will take us all to an incredible end. So welcome once again, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Na, for that beautiful remark. We would quickly go to the citations of our speakers. Dr. Chioma, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this year's webinar. My name is Chioma Precious Ekwani, and I'll be reading the bio of our guest speakers for today. Beginning with the bio of our guest speaker, Professor Abimbola Olukemi Windapo. Professor Abimbola Windapo is a professor in the Department of Construction Economics and Management and the former Deputy Dean of Postgraduate Studies in the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment at the University of Cape Town. With over 35 years of experience in practice, teaching, and research within the construction industry, she is a recognized expert in her field. Professor Windapo holds a C2 rating from the National Research Foundation, NRF, of South Africa, and is a registered professional construction project manager and mentor with the South African Council for the Project and Construction Management Professions, SACPCMP. Additionally, she is registered with the Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, COBUN, and is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Building, NIOB. Her interdisciplinary research focuses on leadership, economic development, sustainable housing, construction business, and project management from a performance and practice perspective. Professor Windapo is the joint coordinator of the TG8I Global Construction Data Task Group of the Conseil International Department, CIB. She also serves as the University of Cape Town's spoke lead for the Aura Center for Unemployment and Skill Development and the Urbanization and Habitable Cities in Africa. In addition to her academic roles, she is the editor of the Journal of Construction Business and Management, JCBM, hosted by the University of Cape Town's libraries, and serves as an associate editor for the Emerald Journal of Engineering, Design and Technology, JETD. Professor Windapo is a distinguished associate of the Royal Academy of Engineering and has received several awards, including the prestigious NSTF South 32 Engineering Research Capacity Science Oscars Award. For a detailed CV and a list of all her publications, it is accessible on Abimbola Windapo's academia.edu profile and her ResearchGate profile. The first panelist on our list is Dr. Karahan. Dr. Karahan is passionate about creating a safe and healthy construction industry through digital transformation. Her work drives changes in the Work Health and Safety Act, Queensland. Her Bayesian and agent-based modeling techniques deliver evidence for the Australian construction industry to better manage psychosocial risk in the workplace and reduce suicide rates of the construction workers. She leads the Safety Analysis and Modeling Research Program of the ARC Research Hub for Human-Robot Teaming for Sustainable and Resilient Construction, and her research has been funded by the Center of Workplace Health and Safety and a Discovery for Early Career Researcher Award. The second panelist is Dr. Abiola Akamu. Dr. Abiola Akamu serves as the Associate Professor for Construction Engineering and Management in the Miles Lawson School of Construction. She joined Virginia Tech in 2017. Dr. Akamu's research focuses on improving the delivery of building and civil infrastructure systems and workplace development using emerging technologies and techniques. In her recent research, Akamu is exploring the design of tools and cyber learning technologies to improve workforce competencies, health and safety, and support decision-making on construction projects. She aims to impart the preparedness of the current and future workforce to meet the demands of the future of the construction industry. Previously, Dr. Akamu serves as the Assistant Professor for the Western Michigan University before joining the Miles Lawson School of Construction. In addition, she worked as a lecturer at Covenant University, Nigeria for 3 years. She also worked as a design and field engineer for 6 years. Dr. Akamu holds a PhD in Architectural Engineering, Construction Management option from the Pennsylvania State University and a Bachelor of Engineering and Masters in Civil and Structural Engineering, respectively, from Bayero University, Kano, Nigeria. The third panelist is Dr. Kara Chong. Dr. Kara Chong is a reader in engineering management at the University of Manchester with over 20 years of international experience in both Fortune 500 companies and academia. She earned her bachelor's degree in business administration from the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, followed by an MSc and a PhD in civil engineering from the University of Maryland. Since joining the University of Manchester in 2017, Dr. Chong has progressed from lecturer to senior lecturer and now serves as the reader and group lead of engineering management in the Department of Civil Engineering and Management. She also holds a senior leadership role as the head of internationalization for Asian, Japan, and Korea in University of Manchester's Faculty of Science and Engineering. Dr. Chong's research focuses on enhancing occupational safety, health, and well-being in high-risk industries, particularly construction. Her interdisciplinary approach draws from engineering, computer science, and social sciences, and has secured funding from government, professional bodies, and industry stakeholders worldwide. She has published over 80 peer-reviewed academic articles and serves as the associate editor for the ASCE Journal of Management in Engineering. In recognition of her contributions to one of the top 50 women engineers in safety by the Women's Engineering Society in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now move on to our lecture. Professor Windapo, you have the floor, ma'am.
I want to say thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much for the invitation. Hello, everyone, wherever you are listening to us. It's indeed a pleasure and an honor for me to make a presentation titled In Pursuit of the Academic Vision. So what I'll do now is I'll try and share my screen. Whilst the sharing is coming up, I just want to thank the organizers for inviting me to make this presentation.
Okay. Apologies for this. Prof is still having issues to get her screen sorted. I think she's having a serious network issue. So pardon me, I will just have to jump into the panel session so that we just have something going whilst Prof will join us later. So Professor Horn, are you set for us?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I can share my screen. Thank you for the opportunity for having me to share my academic vision. Thank you for the introduction as well. I'm from Australia, Brisbane, and I'm in the School of Architecture in Built Environment, Queensland University of Technology. So I'm very happy to share how I start my academic journey and how I walk through this journey to achieve my academic vision. A little bit more about myself. I didn't plan to become an academic in construction right at the beginning. So I spent a few years finding my feet, what I want to do after graduation. I had some industry experience working for the government, property developer, and consultant, quantity surveyor. For this journey, I find out that I want to make a change and I want to create impact. So I've got some opportunities to do research in different universities for doing some research project as research assistant. I got to know more about the construction industry, and I find out that I really have a passion to make change and create a better industry, to make things built in a better way, in a safer way. So from that, I started my PhD looking into construction safety, and then that's how I started my academic journey. And I also find that I have a passion for helping people and for the industry to develop. I also realized that technology can't be neglected. So my research has been around people and how technology change in the construction industry influence the construction practices and how people can adopt to it. So my academic vision is about creating a safe, healthy, and sustainable construction industry for the digital transformation. And since I've taken up the role in Queensland University of Technology, I've been trying to achieve this academic vision for my teaching, research, and engagement. to share with you how I do my teaching to achieve my academic vision. Queensland University of Technology has a slogan, we are the university for the real world. That means we try to equip our students with real world experiences and to make them be the future leader of the construction industry. While I started my job in Queensland, in Brisbane, I tried to develop my skill sets to apply effective pedagogy and try to adopt myself to the context of Queensland because QUT, Queensland University of Technology, is university for the real world. So it's very practice-based. And I originally came from Hong Kong. The construction practices in Hong Kong look very different from the construction practices in Queensland. So I spent some time learning what's the local practices, what's the legal requirement. So I find myself the need to upskill and update my knowledge from time to time. And I think that may be the need for any early academic researcher working in the construction sector, because we are not just teaching something very theoretical and is universal. I could imagine there would always be local practices and differences in the construction industry in different parts of the world. Whenever we start our academic journey, when we move to a new country to teach, we've got to upskill and update ourselves. And that's what I did in the first few years of my role as lecturer. And so Australia has been trying to adopt more and more technology to improve the efficiency and productivity of the construction industry. So I didn't know much about building information modeling or digital engineering before I moved to Australia. But because I was given the teaching responsibility to teach something related to building information modeling to the latest technology, so I took the opportunity to upskill myself to learn how to use Revit, how to use Caustic, which is an estimating software developed in Australia, and Autodesk Navisworks for scheduling and planning. So I treasure all these opportunity to embrace technology in my teaching. And I'm very happy to see that those students that I taught, they now become the industry leaders in Australia, or even when they move to the UK, they have a very good career prospect. And some of my PhD graduates, they become academics in other universities or back in their home countries. So I find it's a very rewarding experience. And part of my teaching, it involved some corporate level teaching with, for example, I had a short course with some government officials and industry leaders from Cambodia. And they learned from the practice in Australia about health and safety, about the legislative requirement. And when they returned back to Cambodia, they initiated and the government finally adopt the Health and Safety Act for the construction industry in Cambodia. So I find this is something very rewarding for me to see that something they learned here with me becomes something they can actually use and being adopted in Cambodia to save lives. And I was lucky to be involved in the Work Health and Safety Act Queensland review to provide academic support. And that gave me the opportunity to influence the change in this area. So in terms of my research, I still focus on what I can do to achieve my academic vision to create a better, safer, and healthier, more sustainable construction industry. I still focus a lot of my time looking into how to improve construction safety in Australia. So in Australia, the construction industry is ranked number 3 in terms of number of fatalities among all the other industries in Australia. But then looking at the mental health of the construction workers, I realized that it's really an important issue. I remember one of my students who was working in the industry came to me telling me that one of his best friend killed himself, who was a construction worker. So that was shocking to me. And around 2017, there was industry report and statistics came out in Australia indicating that the suicide rate in the construction industry in Australia was so high. It's 6 times more than the number of construction workers died in the construction site. Every year, around 200 construction workers kill themselves, and as compared to around 30 construction workers died by accident in a construction site. So that really drew my attention. And from that time on, I slightly shift my research area to look at mental health, especially how to better manage a construction project, manage the psychosocial hazards in a construction project that construction workers are facing. And I was lucky to collaborate with Mason Construction, who's the Mason Construction is the suicide prevention organization in Australia, and it's been very successful helping construction workers. So, and that concept has also been kind of replicated in the UK. So Mace in Mice has been set up to help construction workers in the UK. And starting from Mason Construction, because it's been very successful helping the mental health of construction workers. In Australia, we now have Mace in Mines, Mace in Mining, so to help mining workers, and also Mace in Energy, because some workers working in the energy sector, they also have different mental health challenges. So I always try to share my research findings with the industry and related stakeholders so that they're aware of these research evidence and they can incorporate into their company policy and to make change to the industry. And very recently, I am involved in a successful grant application. It's funded by the Australian Research Council. It's about human-robot teaming to create a sustainable and resilient construction industry. So my role in this grant initiative is to look at the safety-related issues when your partner at work is not a human, it's a robot. How do you cope with it? And identifying any potential safety risks and or mental health issues that would be involved. So this research will start very soon. So in my research journey, I've been trying to apply for funding, and I've been trying to get external research income to QUT. I would be honest, I didn't get much success in the first few years. I think this may be similar situation for early career researchers moving to a new place for the first academic job. And I still remember my colleagues told me, well, construction safety is hard to get research funding. But I kind of didn't give up and be persistent in what I feel passionate about. When I still try to look for different opportunity and follow my own passion, I finally got some success. For my teaching and research, I always try to have active engagement with government, with stakeholders, with the industry. I'm a BRISBEAM committee member. BRISBEAM is the first city beam in Australia, which organizes industry event to bring industry partners into QUT, into the university, to showcase what is the latest industry practice in digital engineering, in building information modeling. Through that connection, I get to know a lot of industry partners in Brisbane or even all parts of Australia. And I'm also involved in an initiative of the Prime Minister Cabinet in Australia to encourage more women to join construction. In this year, we plan to arrange a seminar and facilitate internship to help the girls and women in construction to join the industry to have hands-on experience working in the industry. And I often being invited to give industry presentation to professional organizations to share my research finding. I think for research success, it's very important to have collaboration, and the collaboration would be even more meaningful if it is interdisciplinary, because a lot of the problems in our construction industry is very complex, and we need to work together with people from other disciplines. I really enjoy working together with researchers from other areas such as organizational psychology, data science, and behavioral economics. So I've got fantastic research collaborators from these areas, and I learned so much from them. And when joined forces, I realized we can achieve much more. So my academic journey is not always smooth and perfect. There are lots of challenges, but when I look back, I feel even there are difficult times, but when I stick to my passion and I have a clear objective and goals, then when I stick to it, I can finally see some success and fruits coming out. I think to thrive in the construction industry, being a woman academic, resilient, play a strong part. And I would receive grant rejection or even paper rejection, all these hurdles. But I guess being persistent, resilient plays a big role. And I'm really grateful that along the journey, I've got a different mentor in different stage to encourage me and push me for the boundaries. I got promoted to associate professor late last year, and what I'm thinking for my future direction, I aspire to play more leadership role in my university, and I really want to dedicate some of my time to provide mentorship to early career academics because I received so much support from my mentor, and I want to pass it down to early career academics. as this network is to support, connect, and equip. I think that's so important. We support one another. So for my future professional development, I'm working on getting professional bodies membership, and generative AI is the big thing for my teaching, for my research. So I want to get to know more about it and how to use it in an ethical way. And I'm still working on to get more industry engagement for research collaboration. So a lot of things on my plate in this year, but I'm excited for it. And I'm really grateful that I've got the opportunity to share my academic vision and journey in this occasion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your presentation. Thank you very much. She talked on a lot of things, and in her short presentation, she has been able to give us an idea of what our own passion is like, and how our journey has been. I particularly like some things stood out to me. She talked about upskilling, very necessary as we move into new territories. We need to upskill so that we can blend in and be able to flow with whatever, with the new space. Also, she talked about the fact that when she looks back now and sees that her research and her teaching have been impactful, and for her that is very rewarding. Seeing her students being able to get high paid jobs, in wherever they find themselves, and how research being used practically in the real world. She also talked about the fact that interdisciplinary collaboration is vital for success, and that to survive in our kind of career and industry, we need resilience and mentorship. Prof, thank you very much for your presentation. We would have Professor Windapo come up now. I think she's got her slides sorted. So Prof, you now have the floor.
Thank you once again. So it will be shared by the admin. I apologize once again. There's infrastructure problems, network issues. I'm in Lagos, not in Cape Town. So I'm presenting from Lagos. So we have this network problem here. But I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so I wouldn't really be showing my video.
It's okay.
So it's a great honor for me to make this presentation titled In Pursuit of the Academic Vision at this webinar. And thanks for introducing me. And I want to also thank the organizers, most especially Professor Patience Tunji-Olayeni, for inviting me and for this opportunity, which I do not take for granted. So the presentation will follow this outline. I'll go through a brief introduction, and it's going to be about my life in academia and the challenges I've faced, and also the strategies that I've used in supporting myself in the pursuit of the academic vision. And then I'll end with a few takeaways. So the theme is in pursuit of the academic vision. So I think we need to know, what do we mean by vision? So vision, to me, is a view about the future. So you have a view about your future, and that view makes one to act. It makes you to take different actions. And from a bit of my digging around, I found that there are certain elements of an academic vision, which is in all our journey. So one, it's a desire to produce high quality research. We want to mentor the next generation of scholars. We want to collaborate with other scholars. We want to engage with our communities. And we also want to contribute to societal well-being, which is also what I had Professor Carol Horn present just now. So what was my own vision? What was my academic vision? You may want to ask. So my academic vision was to become a leading researcher in construction management by developing an efficient production model to address the problems of homelessness and poor infrastructure provision in Africa, which is what we are battling with. So we need a process that helps us in producing infrastructure houses. And this ranges from materials production, the supply chain, the construction businesses, generally making our construction industry more efficient. So that was my vision in academia, to become a leading researcher in that area. But first of all, the academic career involves a unique career path. It's not like other careers. So we first of all have to note that it's not like all the career paths that we know about. The progression in academia is usually dependent on certain key milestones. You go from your undergraduate to PhD degree, then you get appointed as a lecturer, and then you go through the ranks to become a professor. So if that's our vision, to get to the pinnacle of this career, of academic career, we need to manage the path carefully so that we can succeed as we progress along this career path. So it's not something that is clear-cut, like if you join industry or if you are in the government service, you're working for government, the path is totally different. So in academic, the road is to become a full-fledged academic can be long and very difficult. So most of us that have been in academia have been in academia for about 30 years now. The road is very long and difficult. A study by the Royal Society found that 3.5% of students that complete a PhD secure a permanent research position at a university, and only 12% or 0.5% of that total make it to become a professor. So educational achievements as well as skills are normally needed for an academic to navigate the field. So to reach the pinnacle of academia or to achieve our academic vision cannot be simply fulfilled with having a PhD degree. So that's what we can see from these statistics that are presented on the slide. It's not just having a degree that will get you the employment, or even once you are employed, it does not guarantee that you get to that pinnacle. So the PhD will help you enter the gates of academia. A higher degree will help you enter the gates of academia, but you need much more to sustain that vision. So I'll give you a brief background of my life in academia and the challenges that I faced. So allow me to share that bit about my own background and why my life experience may be a pointer to understanding the challenges faced in academia and provide the knowledge required to pursue our academic vision. I worked in the construction industry for 10 years before transitioning to academia. The decision to transition from the construction industry to academia was motivated by several factors, and primarily by two main ones: the desire for a more balanced work life and the opportunity to influence the next generation of professionals, and also as a way to leverage my expertise as well in construction after working in the male-dominated construction industry. So initially, I expected academia to provide me with that kind of supportive and nurturing environment compared to the construction industry. But I was so wrong. And most of you who would have gone in, who are in academia, you will agree with me that it's a wrong perception that I had. I quickly realized that the academic world came with its own set of challenges, particularly for a female academic. So the decision, so what were the challenges that I faced? So here are some of my challenges that I faced in academia as a female and a Black one for that matter. I faced gender inequality, my authority, the competence, your credibility as an academic was frequently questioned. A particularly memorable incident involved a parent asking me, why should students listen to me? So this question underscored the underlying bias that I had to confront regularly. For which my response was, they don't. Usually they don't, they just tone deaf. But I said, by the grace of God, they will. Reflecting that determination to earn the respect despite the challenges. So there was that lack of respect that you don't get because you're female. And then in a country like South Africa, because you are Black and female, you're like at the bottom of the barrel. So the lack of respect is not there. Then the isolation and lack of support. So there was no support network. So I'm very happy about the Women Academics in Construction kind of network that supports women in academia and helping to navigate those complexities. So there was a lack of support network in my own time. So I often felt like an outsider, striving to prove my worth in a space that was not always welcoming. So it was a tough life. So the transition that I made from industry, working in construction on sites, to academia was not the smooth journey I had envisioned. So it was full of cultural gender biases that tested my resolve to stay. However, these experiences also fueled my passion for creating that more inclusive academic environment that I have to stay. They reinforced my commitment to mentoring and supporting other women, particularly those from underrepresented backgrounds, as they navigated their own paths in academia. So by using the following strategies, I was able to pursue the academic vision amid challenges. And I mentioned 6 of those strategies that I believed helped me. So each of these strategies I outlined on the slide played an important role in sustaining the academic vision that I had. So in the following slides, I will elaborate on each strategy, its importance, and provide examples from my own experiences to corroborate those strategies and why I believe that they work. So the first one is the organizational support that you need. It's organizational support refers in this context to the resources, the policies that are made, the culture that an institution provides to help its faculty and its students to succeed. At the University of Cape Town, I benefited from various academic development workshops aimed at enhancing our teaching and research skills. And the institution also had a commitment to diversity and inclusion, which was very good. So this provided me with a platform to voice my experiences. So there were spaces for you to talk about your experiences in the system, and also advocate for policies that support women and underrepresented groups in academia. So the next strategy that you need for sustaining the academic vision is the family support. So family is very critical for helping you balance the demands of academia and personal responsibilities. So throughout my academic journey, my father wasn't somebody who supported working in teaching or research in the university. Neither did he support working as a woman, even doing construction to start with. But on the other hand, my mother's belief in my potential motivated me to take on those challenges in both construction and academia. So she encouraged me, because she has a saying that what a man can do, a woman can do better. So she was a strong advocate for women's empowerment and encouraged me to pursue my ambitions despite societal expectations. And then I also have to mention my children. So sometimes you may look at them and say, oh, what do these ones know? Even when they're small, when they're little, what can they teach you? What do they know about anything? But I want to tell you that they taught me how to navigate information technology, this new digital age. What I can do today, and these PowerPoint slides that I'm presenting now, 20 years ago, I didn't know about PowerPoint. And my daughter of 11 years old, I was going to present my, defend my thesis. And the evening of the defense, my HOD told me I had to use PowerPoint presentation. That was the first time I've ever had a PowerPoint. So I was dejected, and I said I was just going to do the talk and chalk. I'm not going to do any PowerPoint presentation because I can't learn it. So my daughter took it upon herself. She was just 11, prepared the slides for me, and it was what I used in my presentation. And since then, if it's AI, if it's doing this or that, they have always come through. So the support, where I am today, is through the support of family to achieve your vision. Is the supervisory or mentorship support. We need mentors. Having mentors and supportive supervisors is also very vital for professional growth, development, and encouragement. They give us feedback. They help us navigate the complexities of academia. They are like our Moses, who will tell you this is where you should go, this is where you should put your foot on. They can also help us build our networks and open doors to new opportunities. So I sought mentorship from senior faculty members who understood the unique challenges faced by women in the field. And one mentor in particular provided invaluable advice on managing classroom dynamics and establishing authority. Because I was also going to give up about lack of respect in the classroom. But that mentor gave that invaluable advice. Now, once you lose your authority on the first day of lecture, nobody's going to listen to you anymore. You have to put your foot down. So their support helped me gain that confidence to establish the authority on the first day in the class and help navigate the complexities of my academic life. And several other mentors have helped me through my academic journey. Like I see Professor Kori is also online. It's one of those mentors who I look up to help guide and help guide me, encourage, and help me navigate those complexities of academia. So the fourth one is the practice of self-care. Academia is very demanding. It's a demanding environment. So it's easy for us to become overwhelmed by responsibilities, leading to burnout. So we need to practice self-care to help us maintain our physical, emotional and mental well-being. In academia, I've established that routine that includes mindfulness practices, taking deep breaths, mindfulness practices when everything becomes overwhelming, trying to disconnect from work, what I call maybe 2 hours of sabbatical, taking those short breaks, engaging with activities such as traveling, more reading, doing more research, takes your mind off things sometimes. And most especially celebrating milestones, whether promotion, awards, graduation, students submitting their thesis, submission of research proposals, winning research grants, engaging in activities that will bring joy is very important. So we have to care for ourselves as well, so that we don't lose it. Because it's a place, I've known people who have lost it. So it's a place where we don't want to lose our mind. So we need to practice that self-care. The fifth strategy that I want to present is the perseverance, is to persevere and have faith. So perseverance is that ability to persist in the face of challenges and setbacks. We have to keep going. We are here today, women in academia, women academics in construction, because we did not give up. So where there are obstacles such as barriers, funding issues, we have work-life balance, resilience is key to achieving those long-term goals and sustaining our academic visions. Permit me to take a message from scripture, which also confirms that our difficulties, whatever challenges we are going through today, is beneficial for us. Specifically, we read in the scripture in Romans 5:3-4, that when Paul said, we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering will produce perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. One thing we don't want to lose is hope. We have that vision, and we don't want to lose hope that we'll never achieve it. I'm still on the journey. I've not lost hope. I've not really fully achieved what I set out to achieve, but I've not lost hope. I know maybe the time is running out for people in my age, but never give up. Keep going. I faced numerous challenges. There were times when I felt discouraged, especially during difficult teaching semesters, or when research proposals were rejected, or when my application for promotion was denied. However, I drew strength from my faith and the support of my family and mentors. Each setback became an opportunity for growth. I learned to view challenges as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. That perseverance ultimately led to my promotion and to becoming the first female professor of construction management in South Africa. A milestone that, if you asked me 15 years ago, I thought was unattainable. So the message is, keep going, never give up, don't quit. Even if it looks easy, it's easy to quit, but don't. Hang in there and you'll make it. So I'll be failing if I don't identify information or digital technology, the revolution of our age, as a strategy, also especially for females, to use in the pursuit of the academic vision. We need to embrace the use of digital tools. We need information technology. It's going to help us to reduce the traditional barriers in academia. In my academic career, I've used it to benefit, for my benefits in the following ways. I've been able to access information, use it in networking and collaboration, most especially after COVID. You are able to enter those difficult spaces. You're able to break down geographical and institutional barriers using technology. You can attend workshops, virtual workshops, and also very easy to use in research, data collection, data analysis, and dissemination. So in conclusion, as we conclude, I just want to wrap up and then go through the key points that we've explored today. The key points I want you to take away with. The first one is for you to embrace that journey. It's a journey. Each of us had a unique path shaped by our experiences. I don't know what experience you have, what challenges you're facing, what's your aspiration, what's your vision. Your journey, like mine, may be filled with obstacles, but it is also rich with opportunities for growth and learning. Play down the obstacles, play down the challenges, and look for those opportunities that will help you grow and learn. Use technology. In today's digital age, technology is a very powerful tool. Use online resources, engage in remote learning, and connect with others through digital platforms so as to enhance your educational experience and professional development. And also seek organizational. It's always there. Most institutions support you. You have to look for it yourself. Seek family and mentor support. Surround yourself with individuals who will uplift and encourage you, and don't hesitate to ask for their help. Seek guidance when needed. Then make self-care a priority to maintain your well-being and resilience. Establish boundaries so that you have time to recharge and then pursue your passions. Challenges are inevitable part of any journey. It's easy to quit. Embrace them as opportunities to build your character and strength. Your perseverance in the face of challenges will lead to future successes and also inspire others coming behind you along that same way. Consistency also is key. Be consistent to achieving your vision. Slowly but surely, keep going. Not just like the tortoise. Keep going. Don't look back. Otherwise, you will miss what's in front of you. So I pray that you leave here today with a renewed sense of empowerment and hope, ready to embrace the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead of you. And these are some of the selected references that I called on, and I want to thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
Yes, Prof, thank you very much for your inspiring story. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
She did touch on a couple of things. Some stood out to me. She said transitioning to the academia had its own challenges, particularly being a woman. And these challenges tested her resolve to remain or to bolt out of the industry. She also listed a couple of strategies that helped her through. She talked about organizational support, family support, mentorship, practice of self-care, perseverance, leveraging on IT, and consistency, because in consistency lies the power. And she also said we should never lose hope or lose sight of our vision. Thank you very much, Prof. That was really very inspiring. But would quickly...
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I hope we are all noting our questions and our comments. At the appropriate time, the floor will be open for us to discuss some little more. Before we go to the next panelist, can we just take our pictures now that the house is still a bit full, so that we can have something to remember ourselves by? Nonsembo just had to attend to something, so I will just handle it from here. So can we put on our cameras? Let's see our beautiful faces. Let's go. Let's have them on. Let's have our cameras on. Let's see the smiles, the faces we've not seen since last year. Let's see them. Okay. We can give you a minute to touch up if you want. Okay. So at the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, you will say WAIC. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, WAIC.
WAIC.
Okay. Let's go again. 1, 2, 3, WAIC. WAIC.
WAIC.
Okay, who else is there? We still have a couple of people. Emma, Elizabeth, you know yourself. Put on your camera for God's sake. We need to see those faces. So let's just do one more time. 1, 2, 3, go WAIC. WAIC.
WAIC.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, WAIC.
WAIC.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll have Professor Abiola. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. After listening to these two powerful women, I don't know what else I can say. I'm looking at my notes and I can see that they've exhausted everything there. So it's it's wonderful hearing from them. I will try as much as possible not to repeat what they have said and talk about my journey. So did I know what I wanted to do? Not really initially. I knew what my strengths were, building things and computing. But what I wanted to use it for, I really did not know. But with a background in civil engineering, I felt the options I had was working in the field or maybe a design office because I had a master's in structural engineering. But family life kicked in and I needed to work on the side. I knew that it was going to be challenging to manage having a kid and working on the job site and meeting the requirements of the family life. So luckily I took up a job, a teaching job, not that I wanted a teaching job. Then I started my PhD. And it was during my PhD that I got to know exactly what I wanted to use my building skills and my computing skills for. And that was research. And the previous speakers touched on something pretty powerful that helped me to understand where I wanted to go to and helped me to at least be successful. And that is mentorship. Professor Windapo talked about the PhD advisor. My PhD advisor is my mentor. My PhD advisor placed me on the right path, guided me. And since then has been my mentor. And I think quite a number of you may know him, Professor Anumba. One of the keys to my success was identifying a mentor being able to identify a mentor that is successful at the home front and also in academics. He was able to help me navigate these two paths. I got my first job, and here in the US, it's slightly different from Australia and South Africa. You have to, if you're a tenure track faculty, you have to bring in money because you have to meet research requirements, and you have to teach and also do service. Research is 40%, teaching is 40%, and service or outreach is 20%. And for you to do research, meet the 40%, you have to bring in money. And what do I mean by bringing money? Looking for funding agencies and putting in the best of the best ideas. When you have very strong colleagues and you have a very small pot, it becomes challenging for you to navigate. So that is where you have to begin to think about what exactly are you passionate about? What are your skills? And what is new out there? So one of the speakers talked about updating yourself, IT. I started thinking, what is out there? What is new in the computational world? And also trying to understand what the funding agencies are looking for. It took a while, where you have people like Professor Carol looking at safety. She does research in Australia, but you have all these things around, people duplicating things, trying to compete. It was really challenging, but I had to keep studying, understanding what is out there, and looking for how to get into that small pot. And the success rate with the funding agencies, with NSF, National Science Foundation, is about 20%. And you have every faculty trying to dip their hands into it. But this is where mentorship came in. I just didn't know how to do it. I had a couple of conversations with my mentor, and he said, meet with the funding agencies, with the program directors, try to understand exactly what they are looking for, and look for the next big computational technique to meet those needs. And that was the big break for me. Most times ladies run away from computing. When you find few of us like Professor Carol, Professor Windakwa in computing, it is honorable. But most ladies run away from computing. But that was the big break for me. Looking into workforce development, which is the major thing here in the US. A lot of these emerging technologies are rolling out. The question is, how do we prepare the future workforce to be able to use them? Professor Carol talked about robotics. Yes, but how do we prepare the industry to use robots? How do we prepare students to be able to meet and sustain these requirements in the industry? And that was the big break for me, looking into this. And that was how I started bringing in my money. But it was tough. It took years to understand how to do this. I got several rejections, but like one of the speakers said, learn from your rejection and move on. I'm sure all the speakers have gotten their papers rejected. Most times we look at rejections and we mourn over them. Learn from the rejections, what worked, what didn't work. Some criticisms are unfair, others are fair. Learn from everything and see how you can make things better. If you're in the computing world, look for others you can collaborate with. And that was another thing for me. One of my proposals was rejected and it was really strong. I just didn't know why. I went to the program director. I said, why? He said, you need to get somebody in engineering education. You're doing something in workforce development. I had to look for these collaborators. Some didn't like me. Some took my ideas and ran away with it, but that didn't stop me. I just kept on going. And in our field, it's challenging. Somebody talked about the race, and also as a female to navigate this world. We have limited time. We have to attend to the home and also be able to meet our work requirements, which differs for some of the male faculties. But that should not stop you. That didn't stop me. How did I address that? I had to bring in my spouse. I told him, this is what my job requires. Most times, if you don't tell them, they won't know, or they will pretend not to know. I had to tell him 40, 40, 20. And I showed him who my competitors were. I talked about what I needed to succeed. And the institution I'm in, the focus is on money. If you can bring in money, you'll be promoted because they know that money translates to research outputs and it helps with the prestige of the institution. Bringing him in made him understand exactly what I was up against. And I told him, I really want to do this. Is either you support me to do this or I find something else, which obviously will not make me happy. That was a tough thing for me to do, which usually does not go well with men, but I just had to. And understanding means that he will support me. Our job requires late nights. Sometimes one of the speakers talked about balancing work life. It is challenging when you have to do 40, 40, 20. It is challenging. Your computer is right in front of you. You barely close your laptop. You have to get those papers out. You need support. So that was the next big thing for me, trying to bring my spouse in. And how did I know to do this? My mentor. He told me, and that was why I said in the beginning, getting a mentor that is successful in the on-front and academics. Although he's a male, he told me that is how he became successful. And I tried that and it worked for me. I have 2 kids right now. He knows when to step in. This is about 6:25 a.m. I get to the office early. He takes care of the baby. We balance things out. So that is really, really important. But even with bringing in this money, it is not enough. I knew that I needed to get out my findings, constantly publishing. And for you to publish, you need to know what is out there, who you are competing with. I'm looking at Clara, I'm looking at Carol, I'm looking at Professor Winderford. These are my competitors. I learn from what they do to make sure that I don't replicate what they do and also way ahead of them. It is tough, but you have to keep learning. And you have to keep publishing. Most people throw out what others have done. It will not set you apart, particularly as a female. And it's just, we have very few of us in this space. And for us as females to be able to be known, you have to know what is out there and be able to set yourself apart. And once you are able to do that, publishing. And one of the issues that females in our space have is that they try as much as possible to get out so much. You don't need so much. You just need a few that will announce you, that would set you apart, which is important and which is what I've been doing. If you have so many students, yes, you can do it. But if you have few students, focus on the most important. We have very few research results and we want to break it out into multiple publications. That really isn't good because you're diluting what you have and people will not see the beauty of you. And the beauty of you is in what you get out. That was something else I learned from my mentor. It is hard because you have to be able to get out X number of publications. It is tough, but you can do that by bringing out the best of you. When people see it, they will want to work with you. And that in a way increases your output. You don't have to be the sole author of a paper, but when people see that unique one you brought out, they will want to work with you, and that is where your publication grows. And also something else that has also helped me is taking my research and putting it into my teaching. Maybe because I do research in workforce development, I just felt that, well, updating what I teach would help. And that was how I was able to navigate my teaching. Particularly in this world, if you don't have a lot of industry experience, students may not listen to you because these students do internships. They pick up things quickly in the industry. But why would they listen to you when you have something new to share with them, given that you have limited experience in the industry? And that is where my computing skills came in. I brought in some of my research results into my teaching. I teach a class right now on smart construction, where students learn machine learning, they learn the use of sensors for basic productivity. They connect sensors to building information models. They do simple coding. And these are students that have experience in the industry. And I don't have that much experience in the industry, but they sign up for the class. The problem I have is keeping them out of my class because I can only handle so many students. So that is another breakthrough, something else that set me apart. This is something new, they don't know it, and I know what my limitations are. Bringing this in helped me. And also outreach, getting the word out. And that is where mentoring comes in, looking at the younger ones. That is the 20% here. I used that approach, and some of the students I have working in my labs are students that I mentored in high school, working in my labs right now. And getting the word out also helped some of my ex-PhD students who are really doing well right now. So all these things are basically important. They helped me to where I am. But that is not to say that I didn't have challenges along the way. I had. Even with this, I had challenges balancing my work and my family, even after talking to my husband and all that. It was because I just didn't know when enough was enough. Sometimes because we feel that we have the okay, we have to keep pushing. I had to, at some point in time, slow down because I was getting so much in terms of funding, and I just did not know how my daughter was feeling in college. Because I had the permission to keep going, and I thought one person could handle it. So at some point in time, I had to, my spouse told me something once. He said, you have two hats. You have the professor hat and you have the mother hat. He said, when you're coming into the house, take off your professor hat and put on your mother hat. He said, when you're going to school, take off your mother hat and put on your professor hat. I almost started having challenges on that part until I understood this. So as females, to be able to thrive in this field, even when you have everything going for you, look at the family side. What helped me was keeping calendars of what I do professionally and the time I dedicate to my family. I had to consciously set out time on my calendar for my family, which was really bad. But that was my approach to balancing things up. So sometimes we get so caught up in our words that we forget that part. And once you forget that part because you're successful in one area, you will lose it. And I had to work on my time management strategies. I had to start setting boundaries. Boundaries that I would not cross. And I told my students, and I tell my students in the beginning of every class, don't send me emails past 5 p.m. If it's an emergency, call 911. But if it is not an emergency, if you can wait, wait. If you have a burning question, send it, but I will not look at it until the following day. That is not to say that I will not do research, sneak and do some research when I get home, but set those boundaries. I had to. And I was at home, I think a while back, when my daughter said, "Mom, can we go do our nails?" She thought I was going to say no. And I said, "Yes, let's go." She stood and she looked at me. She said, "This year is going to be good." And hearing that made me happy. Well, I don't know if it works, but at least it shows that I'm doing something good and I'm able to balance those two things. So that is something else that is really, really important. Once you've achieved that level of success, make sure that the home front is taken care of. And those were the two things I learned from my mentor. So to cap this all up, mentorship is the most important. Once you identify your mentor, the good mentor, then you're fine. And that is what worked for me, without repeating what the outstanding colleagues have mentioned.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you so, so much for your presentation. And she touched on a lot of things. She really tried to make her own really unique. She created her own path. Thank you so much, Prof. And she said one of the challenges she faced, or an additional challenge to what every other person said, was the fact that in her own context, they needed to, it was mandatory to bring in funding even at their level at that time. So that was an extra burden for them. She also talked about the fact that as women, we need to roll up our sleeves and upskill in computational things. That will create an edge for us. And we also need to respectfully carry our spouses along in our career, set boundaries, work and boundaries between work and life. Then we should create a niche. We shouldn't do everything. We need to create in our research, we need to create a niche with something that we are known for. We can't do everything. So we should create a niche and people should know us for what kind of research we do. And that we should also put in our research findings. We should put in our research findings into our teaching. And that also would enhance our teaching and would make us, our students, enjoy our classes more. So Prof, thank you so, so much for your presentation. Before we go on to Professor Clara, just pardon me, I just want to acknowledge the presence of Professor Georgia Forey. Prof, sorry, I should have done this earlier. Prof, we are grateful, thankful for you participating here today. You've always been a supporter of WAIC, and we don't take this for granted. Prof is a great mentor, and he has raised many, many great students all over the world. Prof, we are grateful for your mentorship and your support all the time. We also want to acknowledge Dr. Ntembo, Director of Research and Development at CIDP South Africa. She's a board member, one of WAIC's board member. So thank you for joining us today. So Professor Clara, you have the floor.
I just can't help myself laughing, okay? When Viola just talk about you need to educate your spouse, okay? But yeah, thank you very much. I think it's a very good sharing. So can I share the screen actually?
Yeah, you can. Yes, you
Let
can.
me see whether I can do it, okay? Open system, privacy. Okay, it seems like it's not allowed, okay? But I think it's fine if those screen sharing, I can still talk through some of my key learnings. All right. So I think good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. My name is Clara Chung. I am a reader actually in engineering management at the University of Manchester in the UK. So very similar like Abiola, my duty is getting money on top of my teaching, publication, and a couple of different leadership roles in the university as well. But my vision is simple, I believe, okay, at least at the beginning. I want to create a workplace, actually in construction particularly, where people don't just survive, okay, because this industry is quite unique, okay. it's not just survive, but they succeed in the sense that safety, healthy, and a supportive environment where employees will feel valued and can perform at their best. So that was my original passion, okay, when I go back to academia. And this passion actually taken me across many disciplines, like in engineering, computer science, management, in order to improve occupational health, safety, and well-being. And I do a lot of international collaboration in the past few years as well. But at the University of Manchester, as I said, on top of my grant, research, and teaching, I wear many hats. I lead the engineering management group in the Department of Civil Engineering and Management. So the group size is around 23 full-time colleagues, and then with 40 PhD students and postdoc. I also serve as the head of internationalization for the Faculty of Science and Engineering, looking after Japan, South Korea, and ASEAN. And actually, I just traveled back from Japan 2 days ago. And then I immediately need to switch on my teaching yesterday. Okay. And on top of all this, I also lead research theme for a university research institute and serve as associate editor for ASC Journal of Management in Engineering. It sounds very busy, right? But that is not enough. I also have 3 kids, and they're in the age of 14, 11, and 5 years old. So you can imagine, between managing all the deadlines, meetings, and then I also need to debate with my kids why you need to eat broccoli and why they are nutritious, okay? I think I master the art of multitasking, although my kids will say I'm still in training, all right? So it's a very, very hectic life. And before joining academia, I spent nearly 10 years working in business world. I lead various of IT organizational change projects for multinational firm. So it is a very fast-paced and then exciting track. You can imagine I have a to-do list just like never end. But after working there for a decade, I just feel probably that's not what I'm looking for, because when you work for business, you only need to care about is profit, okay? But what I'm passionate about is people. So I make a very bold decision to switch my career and dive into academia. So I pursue a master and PhD in civil engineering and in the United States. But my background actually is in business and social science. How can I make all this happen? Okay. And you may ask, why civil engineering? Because I believe originally, this is a discipline actually help to shape the space and where people can live and work, create a safer and healthier environment for the communities. That's why I make such a switch. But to be honest, this experience is also terrifying, because I went from feeling confident in my corporate role to being completely beginner in a male-dominant field. I don't really realize it until the moment I really sit into the class. And then when I go out to work in academia, I'm surrounded by 90% men in the room. So this is quite daunting. But to be fair, I think, yes, there is challenges, but there is also opportunities for us. So I would like to share some of my learning, okay, along this journey quite quickly. Some of the stuff, actually, some of the speaker already talk about, but I think I go slightly deeper to share with you guys. I think, first of all, there are several barriers, I think female, particularly in academia, are facing, or even female in STEM they're facing. So first of all is the societal expectation on women. I think women are often expect to do it all. You need to be professional, you need to be a great mom, you need to be a great partner, and somehow you still have time to bake cookies for the school events, okay? I remember there's a day early in my academic career when my kids all are very young. I am rushing for teaching a lecture, and then afterwards, I need to pick up my sick child from the nursery. And all while, I also need to arrange a conference call. So by the end of the day, I was not sure if I should be proud of myself for being multitasking, or I just collapsed from the exhaustion. Okay. So I think society really tells us as women how we lean in, but never really tell us how to lean back without falling over. All right, so that is the stuff I think we need to pay attention to. You need to build awareness. You also have limitation. You don't need to be a superwoman. Okay, I think that is, although this is a barrier, but as a reflection now, I would say in that way. And then there are two very substantial bias. Okay, I observe, particularly in female. One is called imposter syndrome. Okay, some of you may heard about that. So for years, because I'm from business, I'm not from engineering as my bachelor degree, I had a lagging fear somebody would tap into my shoulder and in a meeting and just whisper, Clara, I review your CV. Actually, you should not be here. Okay, would you leave the room? I have that kind of fear, just like that little voice occasionally will creep in, especially when I need to lead high-profile projects or speak on the big stage, etc. My brain will forget all the hard work actually I put in and start questioning. Are you sure you belong to here? Although I know I should not think in that way, I should not feel in that way, but that feeling occasionally will come to me. So I have awareness, actually, this is something that not true, all right? And perfectionism as well. As woman in a male-dominant field, I felt I had to work twice as hard as they are, okay, in order to prove myself. I may spend hours trying to perfecting presentation and only realize my male colleagues, they just spend half of the time, but they still are fine, all right? So those kind of observation, internal observation, also change my behavior, or this awareness, because I built in now, I change my behavior as well after working in academia for over 8 years. And then structural barriers as well. I think academia, you may feel that's a never-end marathon. We need to publish more, we need to apply for grants, we need to attend conferences, teaching, you need to carry so many different leadership roles, keep climbing up the ladder, but you may question, because this is a male-dominant world, are those ladders actually built for people like us? Okay, so I have this kind of questions that are always in my mind. But although I recognize all those challenges, I also try to think about or try to navigate a path. Okay, so first of all, I echo all the speakers talking about mentorship, the importance of mentorship. Just give you an example. Early in my career, a mentor gave me a very invaluable advice. They just say, Clara, leadership is not about being perfect. It's just about creating opportunities for others. Okay? This perspective actually gave me courage to take on the senior leadership role that I hold today, because I could never imagine, actually, I was pursuing those at the starting of my career. Inspired by that guidance, now I make priority to mentor younger women or early career researcher, try to help them to build the confidence and navigate through their own career path. So that's why mentorship is not so important, because sometimes just the experience or the way of thinking is so inspirational. You will change your mindset and enable you to do something bigger. Another thing is refine the success, okay? For years, I thought success means checking every box on the to-do list, doing it perfectly, okay? Otherwise, you should not let go. You shouldn't even forgive your sleeping time, okay? But I realized success is just about progress, not about being perfect. Some days it could be getting a large grant, publish a paper, but some days it could be just sending your kids to school without forgetting their packed lunch, okay? Which I often forget. So try to refine the success. Don't put too much pressure. You need to be perfect in every aspect of your life. Drop the ball sometimes, okay? It's fine. And convince your spouse, okay? You need to pick it up. That is very important. And then another big point I think is very, very important is about building alliance with men, okay? Building a support network doesn't mean just leaning towards other women. It's about creating meaningful partnership with men. Some of the stronger advocates actually in my career are male colleagues, okay, who didn't just support me actively, but also collaborate with me to bring about changes. Just give you an example. I work with men who make a point, amplify my ideas in the meeting. When I'm hesitating of getting promotion, they will push me. They just say, no, Clara, you are ready. You don't need to wait for another year. I have colleagues actually surrounding me like this as male. And then we build a true alliance and partnership to drive so many different things, be for projects. So I think the true alliance with men is also very important. Never believe we can only align with women, which is good. Okay, I think we always do that. But I think have men as the advocator is equally important in our career journey. So last but not least, I think university like Manchester or university in all the developed country particularly, they have a lot of different policy or protective measures around female being selected in senior management team, or you can take the maternity leave. There's so many things actually helping us. I think the most important thing for us is to really understand those policy and guidance and take it up whenever it's needed. And whenever you have a chance to become a leader, to become a manager, advocate those applications as well, so that people who wants to take, no matter, for example, just like maternity leave, parental leave, that kind of things. Okay, in UK, people are eligible for half year full pay for mom, and then followed by 3 months partially pay and then 3 months free. Okay, but the issue is that as a manager, you should encourage colleagues to take it. This is a sign of not showing weakness or weak commitment, but this is a sign of being strong and try to leverage those policies in order to have a life when you also have a chance to build your career. So I think those are the lessons learned for me throughout the years as academics, and then from business to engineering. Yeah, so that's it for my sharing. I'm not sure it's overlapping. I think it's slightly overlapping with others, but I just try to go a little bit deeper to share my own experience. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Clara. Thank you for bringing in so much humor into your presentation. And yes, just to reiterate some of the things that that actually got to me. One, she talked about the fact that we should forgive ourselves when we shouldn't be super women. We should forgive ourselves when some of these things happen, like forgetting to pick our kids early from school, forgetting their lunch bags. All of these things happen, and we should be able to forgive ourselves. She talked about and also on a lighter mode, she talked about when her children complain about work. She reminds them that work brings the good food on the table, it brings the good clothes they wear and things like that, just to balance the two between work and life. And also she reiterated what Professor Abiola said about our spouses. We need to bring them in. They need to understand what we do, respectfully let them know what we do and how that can help advance the cause of the family. She talked about the fact that we need to build meaningful alliances with men. Okay, the fact that we are pushing for women empowerment doesn't mean that we're going to do this alone. If we listen to all of these women that have talked today, they've mentioned, look at somebody like, we've also talked about Professor Fori, he's a man. Okay, we've talked about Professor Anumba, and there's so many of them, also men pushing, saying that women get empowered. So when we see men that don't have a toxic, attitude, we should build meaningful alliance with them. And I also like the fact that what you talked about leadership is not just a title, but it is more about creating opportunities for others to thrive. So thank you very much, Professor Clara, for your presentation. Now the floor is open for comments and questions. So we can quickly take comments and questions before we shut down.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So I just wanted to comment on how, even for me, impactful the different perspectives and sharings have been. And I think for me, there are certain questions I need us to carry along with us so that we can learn from the experiences. And the first thing I would want to ask everybody to start thinking about is, what is your own academic vision? Personally, what is your vision, right? So it's only when you have crafted the vision that you want for yourself that you would be able to move towards that vision. And from the experiences they've shared, you can even draw some of their lessons to craft your own vision. And then once you know that vision, it's not good enough to just stare at the stairway. You also have to walk the step towards that vision to make it a reality. So the next thing probably we all have to reflect on is, what strategies can you leverage, right, to grow through to that vision based on your own unique academic path. And that's something that Prof. Windabo talked about, that we all have a unique path that we're going in, right? So there are a lot of strategies you can pick from here, but look at your own vision, craft it for yourself, and then identify what is within your unique path that you can leverage towards your vision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Na. That was so on point. Thank you very much. Okay, Professor Fori, yes, you have the floor, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Prof.
Yeah, I'm not showing my face because I'm only a participant. And I like to say I come because I gain, and that's why I come. I come to give support, but I also gain. That's why I come. But I want to say a big thank you on behalf of all of us to Carol and to Clara, because they've given us something big. Today is the what the Chinese call the reunion, the evening for the reunion dinner for the Chinese, because it's Chinese New Year on Wednesday and Thursday. So for them to actually give this up and come and speak to us is something that we have to appreciate. That's number one. And the second one, I also wanted to say something about Abiola, and especially the kind of the kind of way that my friend Chime has played in her development, and the fact that she gives him credit. I've told her that I'll let Chime know that what we do, it's always useful, and we should all continue to do it. And all of us here, I think this has been a really powerful session, and I like us to go away thinking about what we have heard and trying to put them to use. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much for that. Yes, the floor is still open for comments and questions.
Can I get in, Doctor?
Yeah, sure, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, colleagues, and I'd like to apologize for missing my slot. I had to rush somewhere. I'd just like to express gratitude to all the panelists, to all the professors. We learn a lot from them, and I like the fact that they highlighted work-life balance, and us being young, upcoming females in the field, we experience a lot of inequality, and those negativities sometimes have negative hindrances on your confidence. So now that speaks to what the recent speaker mentioned, which has to do with imposter syndrome. But attending sessions like these, we gain a lot of knowledge, confidence, and strategies on how we can maneuver around the academic space and the career at large. And some of us are in academia part-time. So it becomes a lot, it's demanding, and you also have family. So I'd just like to thank you, Dr. Patricia, for taking an initiative and having this platform, because we look up to all of you, and you, our indirect mentors. We learn a lot, and that is much appreciated. Thanks.
Thank you, Nosembo. Thank you very much. Yes, we have room for more comments and questions. Whilst we are waiting for questions, I have this question that comes up from time to time. Young academics, particularly from our own part of the world, when they look at the stark reality of coping with expenses or just meeting their needs, they at times think that they wonder if it's okay, let me put it that way, to combine what they do at the academics and some other things, maybe like business. And I wonder how that might impact on their career outcomes, particularly for their research and their teaching. So I would like our senior colleagues in the House to please respond to this. What would be your advice? They're struggling to make ends meet, they have bills to pay, and then their income from their teaching is not as much as, so they want to dabble into some things on the sidelines. How would this impact on their business, on their career? And then what would be your advice for them? So any of the senior colleagues can please respond.
So the question is it because in your country or your region, people are hired as part-time or non-permanent contract condition. So that's the reason why they're not able to pay off the bills or the salary is very low.
No, not really. It's just like as if it's like the income from the teaching and research from their employment is not enough to meet their bills. So they want to do something extra, like go into business, sell something just to make ends meet. But that might eventually have an impact on their career if they're in academics. So what advice would you give to them? Should they be patient and wait until they get the big breaks, maybe a grant or something? Or what should they do? Should they continue having business on the sideline whilst and their research together? That's the question.
I would say, yeah, the condition is quite different from the UK, at least. Okay. I think based on what you describe, okay, running your own business, if that own business also align with your research, that would be fantastic. That means you can leverage, both sides, okay? I think that sounds to me is quite a win-win situation. While in the UK, we are the other way around. University encourage you to have spin-off company. Okay, I'm not saying that we earn a lot, okay? But it's just saying that, okay, they encourage us to have spin-off company as a way to translate your findings or your research output into the industry. All right. And I think that is also a good way to build the influence and impact to the industry as well. So to me, it sounds like a good choice. But if you're doing outside of this, not related to research, that could be a downside, okay? Because you cannot leverage what you're doing outside with what you are probably passionate about. If research and teaching is something that you're passionate about, I think when you choose what you're doing, in order to make the balance, better to be something that is related. That would be my recommendation.
In addition to what Clara said, can I come in, please?
Yes, please.
I think in a way, I might be able to resonate with what this person is going through. It is challenging. I think this person probably wants the academic career, but needs to make ends meet. My advice would be, if it is the academic career that you want, try to update yourself, maybe get a master's, look for opportunities for a PhD, and look for a better place. I try not to encourage fellow Nigerians to leave the country, but I try not to discourage I'm trying to pick my words carefully, but you want to make ends meet, right? So if you're struggling over there and you're passionate about academia, there are other areas like where Clara is, where Carol is, where Professor Windapo is, the US also, without discouraging people from leaving the country, but it is hard. You are passionate about academia and also trying to make ends meet, you will not be able to sustain your career. And I think that is what quite a number of ladies are going through. So update yourself. If you need to get a PhD, get a PhD if it is academia you're passionate about, and get a better opportunity. And there are a lot of opportunities out there. I think most women sometimes run away from this. We have very few female PhD students, even in this institution. For about 3 years, my student, who is now an assistant professor, one of my students who is now an assistant professor at Georgia Tech, she finished from OEU, Omobolanle. She was the only female, I think for about 2 or 3 years, the only female Nigerian or Black in the program for a while. And I asked her once, what motivated you to go for a PhD? And she said, she cited similar condition as what you mentioned. I'm working, I'm also in academia and things are not easy. So I thought maybe getting a PhD and moving to a different location would help me, and that helped her. So that might be a good way to go if that person is really passionate about academia.
Thank you so much, Prof. Yes, is someone saying something?
I can also share a bit. So even here in Australia, a full-time academic is quite well paid, but so we all know there are only very limited academic positions, and even you get a PhD, you may the day you get a PhD, then you become unemployed. That's very common. And then how to actually survive? Yeah, I've seen some PhD graduates, they move into the industry and still looking for some casual teaching position or some short-term contract. And even myself, before I commit to do my PhD, I've got very short-term contract from 3 months to half a year. There's no security, and yeah, this was hard time. But then I think I would encourage women in construction, if you have a passion for being an academic, being a researcher, try to still keep the connection with the university, but be realistic and get some industry experience. I think in our area, especially construction or engineering, we need the site experience. So it's not a waste of time if you actually spend time on site, understanding what's happening in the industry, that may even better equip yourself and wait for the time an opportunity comes to get back to the academia world when better opportunity comes.
And may I add on to this as well? Okay, Carol just triggered me to think about how I train up my PhD students as well. So if you return to study your PhD, okay, let's say you have some work experience and then you return to study your PhD. During your PhD, please don't just focusing on publication, okay? You need to focus on building the network, need to focus on learning how to teach properly, all right? I think all those will add up your chance. Finally, you will land an academic position. So I think that basically your experience plus teaching plus research output will enable you to get the job later on. I think that's the message people I hopefully will get across.
Thank you very
Can I
much.
also add? I'm
Yes,
sorry,
please.
I won't be able to put up my camera because of the bandwidth. I just also want to add, because I'm just thinking about the context you're talking about. If it's like in places where lecturers are not being well paid and then they're trying to make ends meet, I just want to suggest that they make sure that whatever they do, try to make ends meet. They should make sure it aligns with their PhD research or with their research, the aspect of their research, and also with their social engagement aspects, the social responsibility, what we call social responsibility, so that when they're writing papers or when they talk about their experience, they can use this to showcase that they've been able to get experience in those areas. I mean, from site work, I was listening to some of the earlier speakers. So you've been able to get experience from site work. You could write about that. You could write things about your experience in your social responsibility, in how you've applied what you are doing your research on. And in this way, although you are making money on the side, it can also translate into what you teach and into what you research. So that's what I would say as way of making ends meet whilst being underpaid. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Bemi, yes, you can go ahead with your question, Bemi.
Yes, ma. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to really appreciate all our speakers. In fact, I feel happy because of the line of discussion, and particularly because in their discussion, they still mentioned the home funds, because there was a section we had here, and when I asked the question, combining home funds and other things, the way the response I got, I was feeling bad kind of that I want to be successful at the home front and also as an academics. But the response was like, you can't like undo all together. You can't have it perfect at the home front and so perfect at the academic. But I want to appreciate the speakers because they still related back to the home front and how they were able to navigate both and they kept going. Now, the question Dr. Patience asked, I want to use myself as an example. Like I'm bringing myself out here because there's nothing to hide. Okay, I lecture at the Federal Polytechnic. Okay, and I'm currently on my PhD, though by God's grace, I will soon be rounding up by God's grace. Even though it took me, I think I'm on the seventh session now, which is not something I'm proud of, but what can I do? I still thank God that I'm almost done. Also, I am handling a primary school, like I'm overseeing a primary school. And that, in fact, I'm talking right from there. I'm there in my office at the primary school. And also, I was also involved in some online businesses, all this multi-level marketing or selling of health products or some other. I've sold all manner of things, like from clothes to wears, all manner. Like once is WhatsApp, you post goods, you sell and all that. So I think our question, like I can really put myself in the question. So that's why I'm coming out to spell it out so that the advice we are receiving will really target the situation. Okay, because okay, fine, I work in the Polytechnic, I'm on research, I'm on PhD, and I have all these other things. It's not as if, well, I wouldn't say we are not well paid, but in Nigeria, looking at the situation, and you have a family, like I have 3 kids, my mother-in-law stays with us, my husband, and we can't leave everything for the husband, they have to bring. And when it comes to only feeding, we know how much that is in this current economy. Like your salary cannot even do feeding for a month. So you have to like have other incomes from elsewhere. Even though I'm on third fund, at least I use third fund, but the third fund could not even take me up to the 3rd year, meaning all my salary, all my savings are going into my PhD because it's already prolonged, it's already extended, and I have to even still do some borrowing, even though I don't take loan, but I think I borrowed because I don't like debts, I don't like loan. But now I have to still go ahead and borrow at least to finish up. Then I'll now know how to settle it. And again, as a woman, I also want to have my team. I want to also have my house. I want to buy my land and build my house in my own name, even though my husband have this thing, but I want to do it. I want to have my own personal car. At my place of work, the way you should have car. The way they look at me is like, you are rich now. You are this. You do business. Do that. Bringing car now. Or okay, come and stay where you are working. You don't need to be traveling and going back. Leave your husband. Come and stay. Don't stress yourself. But I can't be, because my place of work is some distance from my house. Like it takes me like 3 hours to 3 hours full, and I still go come. You understand? So these instances now, and although now I'm trying to shed off some online businesses, but this school, I'm not kind of passionate about this school that even if, okay, now, like Paul was saying that he wants to advise that probably we should not come there, but she's trying to pick our words. Because now, as I'm winding up, I'm looking at it that what's next? What will I do? My husband is even asking me, I don't even know how to answer, because initially, before I started PhD, I wanted to even go out abroad to study. But it's such that you cannot leave the family. Like we have to go together. Like that is own, everybody have their own principles that if we are going, we just have to be together. You can't say you want to study, or you can't say you want to go and work, and you're working for the family, and you are separated from your family. Then what are you pursuing? Is it money that you are pursuing? Is it fame that you are pursuing? And you cannot carry your children. How do you watch over your children? You want to leave your children at the mercy of some other persons, you understand? So all these things put together, as I'm now, I'm rounding up, I don't even know what next, because I'm looking at it. If I say, okay, I want to pursue postdoc, I don't know if I'll be allowed at my place of work because I have to serve bond, and because that fund is no more even sponsoring people outside the country to go and even do either masters or PhD, because most of them elope. So I don't even know, even if I put up a postdoc application and I'm even successful, I don't know if I'll be released at my place of work, or even if I have to serve board for 14 years, because when I was, it's 2 years times number of your duration. I'll spend 7 years now. Maybe I'll have to serve for 14 years before I can even say I want to cross over to university. And I'm like, still at the confused stage, even though my target is now just finish first. When you finish, you know the next thing. Then again, I have another question. When the first speaker was talking, she said she's mentoring early career academia or academia. I was not like, okay, who can we term the early career? Is it the number of years they are spent as academics, or by number of publications, or how do we define? Can I count myself as early career, even though I've spent like 10 years as a lecturer and I'm already rounding up my PhD? Am I still an early career? So can I still be mentored, or I should still now start thinking of mentoring others? Thank you very much for this time. I'm sorry for the long talk.
It's okay. I believe our panelists I want to believe they got the gist, and any of them can respond actually.
Can I quickly come in here, please? It seems like Clara wants to say something. Let me quickly clarify some things. I'm not saying that I discourage leaving the country. I left the country for something better. But for the same variables you mentioned, you have to consider so many things before you do that. One of the things I considered, being a married woman and having my daughter, I had a 2-year-old then. The only reason why I went ahead with it was because I was able to come with my family. My family is important to me. So those are some of the things that you may want to think about before you take such a step. And so I'm not saying don't do that. As long as it helps you to pursue your dream and that you consider other important factors in your life, please go ahead. It may be a little bit challenging to respond. Secondly, it may be a little bit challenging to respond to what you said, because there are so many factors governing, so many things you've mentioned going on. And you're talking about being under bond, in debt and all that. It may be difficult to respond to what you said because it is a lot. But I think you may want to take a step back and think of what exactly you want to do. What matters most to you? Look at the factors that would influence this before you decide on what is next. That's all I have to say, assuming the multiple variables, factors you mentioned, like bond and all that, were not in the picture. It would have been easier to provide some kind of advice, but so many things are lumped up into the narration you gave, and it needs to be dissected before an advice can be provided. But if it is academia you want, there are postdoc opportunities. But the postdoc opportunities come with requirements. I have taken postdoc, I have had postdoc opportunities, and I've taken postdocs from Nigeria before. However, they need to meet certain requirements, and we bring them in to work on projects. So there has to be an alignment, and you have to prepare yourself for those alignments. For PhD candidates, we are somewhat flexible because we train them from scratch. And I say somewhat because we still require them to come in with something, with some background to support our research. But with postdoc, we expect you to be able to conduct research in certain areas deeply beyond what a PhD candidate would do. So there has to be a match, and you have to prepare yourself for it, for where you are going to. So many things, one would need to understand you and understand some of the things you laid down to be able to provide feedback. I'll allow Carol, I think she said something about what Carol said, so I'll allow Carol or Clara to step in. It looks like Clara has something much more direct than I can provide.
I think thanks for sharing. I think sharing what you really struggle is not that easy as well. So yeah, let's recognize actually thanks for being so honest to us. I think, I agree with Abiona. I think you need to step back a little bit. You based on what you described, you haven't finished your PhD. Am I right here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. About to.
Okay. Then I think no matter what you're going down, you really need a degree. First, that is something should be on your priority list. But I would say after that, you really need to think about no matter you go abroad for PhD, for a postdoc or whatever, you need to equip yourself. I don't know whether you have publication already or I know you have teaching experience because you said you are a lecturer in a technical university. Because even for me, hiring a postdoc, okay, I need to see you have a track record, okay, in those areas. Otherwise, I won't consider. For example, this is quite common, and then it's also very competitive as well. But being a postdoc, particularly in the UK context, yes, it's a stepping stone for you to land up in a lecture position later. That means assistant professor position later on. So I think for you, the priority sounds like at least you need to wrap up your degree first. And afterwards, there's so many factors you need to consider. For example, whether your spouse, okay, is willing to go with you if you go abroad. And then so those kind of things, no one can answer those questions for you. I think it's the communication you need to have with the family as a whole. And going back to your second question, you asked about, I spent 10 years already. Am I still classified as early career researcher or can I mentor somebody? I think this is also very subjective. I don't think we need to put a definition on what is early career researcher. But instead, I think more importantly, no matter which career stage you are, I think it's beneficial to have a mentor whenever it's possible, because everybody will have its own blind spot, okay, on making decision or for your own growth. So I don't think we need to stuck on whether I'm early career researcher or I'm not, okay. I think if there's a mentor you feel is helpful for you, regardless what stage you are, I think it's beneficial to have one. I mean, that's what I think about after listening to what you described, the situation that you are in at the moment.
Dr. Carol,
I think Abiola and Clara provide great suggestions, and I've got colleagues, especially with architectural background, practicing architect. They have been academic for a long time, but they would finish their PhD at a very late stage. They're still early career researcher, so it doesn't matter. And whatever, how many years as an academic, a lecturer for so long, and everyone needs a mentor. You may need mentor for your teaching, you may need mentor for your research. If it takes so long to finish PhD, then let it be. Yeah, just finish it, and you can still say I'm an early career researcher because I just finished my PhD. But you would have so much better teaching experience as compared to other PhD graduate. So I mean, don't undermine your expertise or experience, and don't be frustrated or feeling, it takes me so long. Well, everyone is different, and just don't give up and be persistent and perseverance. I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you very much, Carol. Please, we have some few hands up, but please, can you just go straight to the point? Just 1 second, just ask your question. The time is really fast spent. Let's quickly have Blessing. Blessing, you have the floor.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I don't know. Okay,
Yes,
all right. So I'm so glad to be in this webinar because I can relate to a lot of things, especially what Dr. Clara, most of what she said, I could relate with lots of them. Mine is not really a question, but mine is just a summary of some of the things I went through with the question that you asked, if you can actually balance being a career person and a business person. I run a fashion designing business. I'm a fashion designer. I have a fashion designing brand. And then I also have a career as a lecturer in one of the prestigious universities here in Nigeria. So what I would actually say is that, to be very honest, if priority is not given to one aspect, the other one will be suffer. That's just the basic truth. For me, my career, which is being in the academics, was my priority. Fashion designing was like a side also, was a business, but it was my passion. Now I had to do fashion designing to sustain these other aspects and also to support my family. But one of the things that really worked out for me was that I was very organized. And then one of the presenters mentioned, what is your academic vision? So I have an academic vision. I have my goals. I know where I am going to. So despite the fact that I'm doing business or I'm doing these other things, that I have to do along the way, I am very conscious and I'm very intentional about my academic goal. So I was able to raise, I could not get a scholarship for my PhD, but I was able to raise a lot of money, my personal money. I was able to raise money even for my business. I was able to get a PhD. I was able to attend conferences. I was able to do a lot of things. And then another thing that helped me over time is that apart from being organized, apart from being intentional, I was very consistent and I was very, what is that word? I was very determined. That determination helps you keep your eyes on your goal, on your academic goal. So some of the strategies I started employing was, okay, I know I have to leverage on networks. How can I build networks? How can I build networks? And then towards the end of last year, I met Dr. Patience, and I was really very glad because I wanted to meet other women too in construction and all of that. So over time, I've been able to build networks because these networks have helped me in my career journey. They've helped me keep my eyes on the goal. They've helped me. They've always told me, okay, Blessing, I know that you're a fashion designer, but I know you're going somewhere because you are meant for this place. All right. So I think it's just being organized, you having a supportive spouse, right? Helping them understand that this is your career, this is your purpose, this is what will make you satisfied, this is how you can make impact. Because to me, being in the academics is not just about for myself, it's about making an impact. So all of these things have been there and they've also helped me over time. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessing. Let's quickly take Angie, then take the last question in the chat. Okay, Angie, you're up. Hello, Angie. Can you just type your question, please? You're breaking. Sorry. Just type your question. Maria, your hands were up. I mean, you had your hand up. Are you still asking your question? Or we go ahead? I'll also wait for them. We have this question in the chat. It says, I have a question. In my communication with other researchers, I found that it can sometimes be challenging to find others working on exactly the same topic, which makes it difficult to find support. What would you suggest in such cases? Should we shift our focus to align with the current trends or continue to pursue what we are genuinely passionate about? I hope we got that. She says at times it's difficult to find people that you have working in the same area with. So should we just
maybe I can try to is it Carol or who is
no, Kara, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Actually, I have a quite similar situation at the early stage of my career because what I was interested in is basically human behavior. And then I'm hired in an engineering school, okay? So people don't care, okay, what you are interested in. This is probably going to the business school, all right? So in order to, other than just give up on what I like to do, I expanded a little bit, although I'm still interested in human behavior, but I couple that with computer science and modeling technique. Okay. So for example, I look at the interaction of people on the site, their unsafe behavior. Then when you have different, for example, safety investment measure put in place on the site, okay, you just try to simulate how people will behave on the site. Okay, so that gets a little bit into more engineering things. I'm still not completely giving it up, but I just try to tune it a little bit in order to collaborate with others, no matter within the university or outside of the university. And then gradually, I also build up my knowledge in computer science as well, in order to do multidisciplinary research. So that is the way I try to navigate through the journey. Sorry, Carol, you should jump in.
Yeah, I got similar experience, and construction safety is not the top killer in Australia. It's very different in the UK and the America, which when you look at the number of injuries or accidents is always construction. So it's hard to argue you need money for construction safety research in Australia. So people keep telling me it's almost impossible for you to get government funding for my topic. So what should I do? I still follow my passion, but I actually adapt myself a bit, looking at what is the current issue in the construction industry that is closely related to safety. Then mental health came to me for some industry report and statistics and for my student. Then I slightly changed my focus a little bit to mental health. And then it opens up collaboration with people in organizational psychology, in business school. But similar to Clara, I'm in the Faculty of Engineering. I need to make it more engineering type of research. So I try to use modeling techniques. I guess it is not an issue that you don't see a lot of people doing in your same area. So I guess there are a few things to check. First of all, whether your research topic is addressing the pressing need, the urgent need of the industry and the country, the context that you are in. If it is, why not keep going? Because it is where the money would come in, because you are addressing a pressing need, important need of the industry. Second is whether your research topic is providing some cutting edge or something new in it. Well, I would say traditional construction safety research may not be very attractive, but then how you actually look at it from a new angle, like if you pair it up with new technology, computer science, AI, all sorts of things, then it would be very attractive. So yeah, I think there are a few things to check.
Thank you so much. I hope that helps to answer the question. Yes, Maria, just quickly ask your question.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
It's like my own is like a question and I need an input. Actually, I just started my PhD here in Nigeria and I seriously need mentorship so that my academic career will still move on perfectly. I've stayed for long without doing the PhD because I don't want to do it here in Nigeria. But at the long run, since TEDCon is no sponsorship, I cannot get any sponsorship or grant. That is why I just applied and started it here. But I don't know, maybe I will get guidance on how to go about it. Maybe after starting or getting a bench space or something, that I'll go and do the research there. So I don't know. I just need an input, really.
Yeah, the floor is open. Profs can just quickly advise Maria on what best to do.
Regarding mentorship, it's usually nice to get people who understand your research, who in a way resonate with what you're doing. career-wise, then they can mentor you. Maybe particularly in the context, if you're thinking of going outside the country, you may be looking for people outside the country, then they can speak to the context for which you are going to be performing. But if not, I think getting a mentor where you are locally that understands your situation, understands your research, I think would be better. The issue of mentorship is challenging. Initially, sincerely, people talk about mentor. I just did not know what a mentor would do. It was challenging for me to get a mentor. I didn't look for one. I didn't feel I needed one until the person who is my mentor right now started advising me, telling me what to do and not to do. And I kind of noticed that those things were working for me. So that was how he became my mentor. So you just need to figure out who is around you, who can speak to your situation. If it's in terms of research, academia, who can speak to your context, what you're doing. And whoever you feel advice works best, I think is who you would regard as your mentor. So that is what I can say in the context of mentorship. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Yeah, you have done that, Prof. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does any other person want to add to that, or is anyone adding to what Prof has just said?
I would just like to add to some of the questions that have gone on earlier. If I can just make some few contributions to the questions asked by making ends meet and then doing businesses. I know maybe the discussion has moved from that. Doing businesses and who is an early career researcher. And doing other businesses, because as I pointed out before, I think it's better that one does the business in the area of construction. So if you have a fashion business, for example, being an entrepreneur is something very good, but we need more entrepreneurs in construction. So if you could transfer that kind of experience into the construction business and then it fits into what you teach as well, then it will be great. It will help you in not only teaching, it will also help you in your social responsiveness aspect of construction. And as a early career researcher, it's usually people who don't yet have PhDs. So, or people who just got their PhD, maybe 5 years into PhD, after less than 5 years after PhD. So you need a mentor, just as this has been discussed. So you need a mentor as an early career researcher to guide you and to encourage you along this journey. And also for the need to do the Maria, who needs to do the PhD research as well. It also, the same goes for her, and as has been pointed out by Dr. Akomi, that you also need to get mentors and in your area of research. So you have to look at that area of research, and then there's the internet, there's Google. You can Google most of the researchers that are doing work in the area in which you have passion in. And then once you do that, you'll be able to get them and write to them. And I'm sure also through the WAIC platform, they may also be able to help you to find very suitable mentors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your response. I believe we have come full circle now. Come full circle, and I really want to apologize for the stretch in time. I know it's about 10:30 p.m. in Australia, Professor Horn. Thank you for the huge sacrifice, and also for Professor Akomo as well. It's pretty early for them too. Pretty early. Thanks for the big sacrifice, and for all our speakers for staying up till now. We are grateful. Professor Fori, thank you for still hanging around with us, and for everyone that is still here. Thanks for your contributions and for your participation. Now let's just go to QS Esther as she tries to help us put the vote of thanks in context. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Patience. We thank God for the end of this webinar, the first one in the year 2025. We thank you. Let me thank all the participants, all those who have, attended, taking the time to attend this webinar. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for not putting it aside, but scheduling it in your program to be here, because if there's no one here, we can't be talking to ourselves. So that will make me to go to our distinguished speakers, our guests. Let me start with Professor Bimbola Winterpo. We owe you a lot. From your last response, let me just start from that. I really value what you have, like an icing on the cake that you have put in responding to the question or the advice that Akiola. So thank you. I want to thank all the speakers for your contribution. And I thank you especially again, Professor Bimbola, because you have actually spelled out the early career. You have given us that unique answer, because we didn't get the answer. And I was like, oh, she will go from this webinar again, not having a particular response to that question. Like she said, there was one webinar we had that she asked question about home front balancing. And I know she wasn't really satisfied with what she had then. But we used to tell participants that as we are having our webinars, on a monthly basis, you cannot get all you need in a particular one. And to find out the essence of continuity and bringing in our, resource persons. And I thank God that there is no time we come for this webinar that we will not gain a lot. So today has been a very unique one too. And I thank God for the level of response. So thank you, Professor Windapo, for all you have, shared with us from your wealth of experience. Yoruba would say, "Agba onitan lorile." Thank you for that insight and for all the advice and your fantastic and insightful presentation. You have shared your knowledge with us, and we really gained. So I also want to thank. Let me go start. Okay, take it from the behind now. Dr. Abiola Akamu, all the way from US. Thank you. We really admire you. We admire the workforce, all the experience that you have, given us from the workforce. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sure everyone here has gained. And what I just want to also chip in is that I don't know if email can be sent, because I noticed someone on the platform was trying to get across to Dr. Abiola, who was one of the best students in her university, and she would love to have, work with Dr. Abiola. So maybe you would like to put your email on the platform for us for members on this webinar participants to, get in touch with you, or probably they will get in touch with Dr. Patience. So thank you once again for all the insightful experiences shared and the challenges. And let me go ahead all the way to Australia to thank Dr. Carol. Thank you. We really appreciate you. Thank you for your time. We know, we understand the time difference. Despite that, you've been able to sacrifice to share your knowledge with us. We really appreciate you. Then, the last but not the least, let me say, our amazing Dr. Clara that has brought humor into this webinar. Thank you. No wonder you are a researcher in the human, human development, human studies. Instead, you research in human behavior. We have been able to gain a lot from your insightful presentation and sharing of your knowledge. Everything you said and everything everyone has said has been very, very useful to us. You have also reminded us that leadership is not all about perfection. That has even affected me a lot in the past before I could realize in most things I want to do, I want to make sure it's perfect before I move on. But I realized it can't be perfect. Just go ahead and start something. Don't wait till you have tidied everything before you start or before you do something. As you have planned, just start somewhere. Start somewhere. You get perfection over the time. So thank you for all you have said, for all you have shared with us. We cannot but thank our Professor George for always being with us, Professor George Ofore. We thank you. Thank you for insightful contributions too. Thank you, Dr. Itembley. And all those who have also contributed, those who have shared their knowledge too, those who have asked questions, we thank you all. And let me once again thank you, Dr. Patience, for this. Ever since I met you, I've been thanking God. All my dreams, all my aspirations, has been ignited. And I, in particular, will say I've been the most top beneficiary of this program because I can say I've been a mentor and then I've been, receiving mentorship. And I've also received more knowledge, insights, full knowledge in doing my mentorship business and every other thing, lecturing, the leadership position, the state chapter of the institute. I really gain a lot here. And I want to advise all of us that this program is this webinar, something that we should not miss. We should just continue. And as it has been said, whatever you are doing, just make sure it is aligned to your vision. That's what I really want to chip in with what Mrs. Akinola has been asking. Whatever you are doing, and Prof also said it, let it be in alignment with your vision so that it will help you in your research. So with that, I want to hand over the baton to, let me say, Associate Professor Patience. This year you will be a very good support. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you once again to everyone. We hope to see you next month. God bless you. For all those behind the screen, thank you also.
Thank you so much, QS Esther.
Thank you so much. It was so insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we've come full circle and it's time to say the goodbyes. Thank you everybody for contribution, for sticking to the end, and to all our speakers. We are really, really grateful. We hope to have more opportunities to collaborate in research and other opportunities. I'm sure people will be reaching out, and please oblige them as much as you can, whatever counsel you can give. And we are open also to any advice that you could also give us to see how we can shape WAIC better. Thank you very much. Stay well. We would, of course, have our webinars happening next month. Again, we would put the invite on LinkedIn and through our WhatsApp channel, our WhatsApp group rather. Thank you very much. Stay well. Wish you the very best of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for organizing.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you all.